So, regarding the third fundamental truth of the soul, being the soul is the doer of karmas. Disciple has been thinking about it. So, there are two options either the soul is the doer or the soul is a non doer. Two options. I'm talking about the disciple's thought process right now. If the soul is the doer of karmas, meaning if it acquires karmas which bind the soul and puts the soul in bondage, bandhan ma, then it might be his nature. So, it cannot be destroyed, removed, given away. This will continue forever. So, if we accept the first option, there is nothing like liberation because it is a nature of the soul to acquire, accumulate karmas and be in bondage. If you take the second option, the soul is not the doer, then we have four options. Who is the doer? When you say, because karma is evident. So if the soul is not the doer, someone has to be the doer. So till you don't give these options, you cannot even conclude that the soul is non-doer. So four options. Number one, the karmas binds the karmas. So the past karmas inspire the new karmas and they get bound. Second, automatically, without any reason, you don't even need the past karmas. The new karmas just come, I said, bang and get bound. For no reason. You don't even need the reason of past karmas. Not the soul's effort, not the past karmas, nothing for no reason automatically. So that was the second option. Third, Prakriti does everything and it seems that the Purush or the soul is getting bound, is the doer, but actually it is the Prakriti who is doing and the soul is unbound, unattached, non-doer. That was the third option. And the fourth, God's inspiration. Because inspiration is needed for karmas. So if not the matter, because matter cannot inspire, soul does not inspire because the soul is unbound according to the Shishya. So we will need a third agency which inspires. So he says then everything is by God's inspiration. So God's responsible for everything and the soul is non-doer, unbound. So no reason to think of liberation because it's not in bondage. It's always dependent on the compelling inspiration of God. So one, the soul is the doer, but then it becomes the nature. And the soul is non-doer, then these four options. So we saw this, how the Guru resolves this, and 1 and 2. Three things we saw. So quickly, I'll be asking how the Guru resolved this, and you will be giving me the words of the verses by which this doubt gets eliminated. So karmaja karta karma. How is this eliminated? By which words of verse 74? Hoyana chetan prerna. So mundane matter cannot inspire, it needs the inspiration of the soul. Hoyana chetan prerna solves it. Then the second option, karmas automatically get bound. How is this solved? Jo chetan kartu nathi. Because if there is no soul's inspiration, karmas cannot get bound. It can move, karma meaning karman vargna, but for practical purposes, I am using karma. So karmas can move in the atmosphere but not get bound and show impact on the soul. It can touch the soul, but it won't get bound, or it gets bound only by soul's inspiration. Correct? So હોય અને જો ચેતન કરતું નથી is the answer. It is not the nature of the soul. It may be a tendency, it may be its capacity to do, so it is doer, but it is not the nature of the soul. Which words? Again the same thing. જો ચેતન કરતું નથી તો first of all ચેતન કરે છે, અને જો means if it indulges in likes and dislikes. If it is in the equanimous state, then no karmas occur. The karmas just touch the soul and go away. But if there is likes and dislikes as in the form of inspiration, in the form of likes and dislikes, feelings, impure feelings, then the karmas which were just passing get bound. Clear? So now we have another two alternatives, options, queries to solve. Two arguments that the disciple had put forth in verse 71 about the soul not being the doer of karmas. So actually there were three arguments, but for the non-doer there were only two. One was about the nature of the soul. So there the soul is the doer. So two arguments that the disciple had put forth in verse 71 about the soul not being the doer of karmas were resolved perfectly by the Guru in verse 74 and 75. Now the solution of the two options presented in verse 72, what was it? Atma sada asang kare prakruti ban, that's Sankhya philosophy. Athva Ishwar prerna, that was by the influence of the Nyaya philosophy. So now the solution of the two options presented in verse 72 of the doctrine on doership of Prakriti and the doctrine of doership of God. Either Prakriti is the doer or God is the doer. These were the two will be given in verse 76 and 77. In verse 76, the first one, which I'll be doing now, will be negating or explaining the doctrine of the doership of Prakriti. And the next one will be explaining the doctrine of the doership of God. Clear? So, influenced by the Sankhya philosophy, the disciple said that the soul is non-attached, unbound, pure, pristine, and Prakriti binds karma. So Prakriti is responsible for the bondage. And this is by the influence of which philosophy? Sankhya philosophy. The disciple projected the doership of karma on Prakriti, not on the soul, meaning the Purush, but on Prakriti. So how does the Guru resolve this? Explaining the flaw in the disciple's reasoning and bringing about the right conviction, the Guru says.
केवल होत असंग जो भासत तने न के असंग छे परमार्थ थी पण निज भाने ते.
Keval, absolutely. Hot asanga jo, if the soul is absolutely non-attached. Keval, absolutely, asang, non-attached. Keval hot asang jo, if the soul, if hot jo means if the soul was absolutely non-attached and pure and free. Pure free is not over here, but when he says asang, he means pure, free, unbound. Bhasat, experience, tanena came. Then why is it not experienced by you right now? It is pure, right? There is no association of karmas, right? So you should be experiencing your soul. Why is it not experienced by you? Asang che. Oh, I thought the Guru was negating this, but he is accepting it. Asang che, parmarthati. soul is non-attached, but from the higher viewpoint, the absolute viewpoint, the real viewpoint, the Nischay viewpoint, whichever word you are comfortable with. Pan Nij bhane tem. But this can be attained when one experiences its pure self. In one line, he skips from the inherent nature to the pure state. So if you don't know the difference between nature and the state, you'll be confused. You'll be lost in this verse. So short meaning. If the soul is absolutely, completely, only non-attached and pure, without the association of karma, then why is it not experienced by you? You should have been able to experience it right from the beginning itself. Beginning itself means at birth. Before the first birth started, because then you wouldn't have any doubt of the existence of the soul. If you are experiencing the soul, you wouldn't be doubting from beginning itself, not during the third pad. Because Atma is pure, there is no Moniya karma, there is no Gnanavarniya karma, nothing is there. That's what the Shisha is saying. It's unbound, unattached, free, pure. Then you should have been bhasat. Bhasat tane. Tane pehlati bhasat. You would be experiencing right now, listening to me also. And you wouldn't even have the doubt of the first fundamental regarding the existence of the soul, because you have an experiential evidence. You didn't have, so the doubt was cleared. Still you said sambhavte no thai, because I yet don't have the experience. But if it was pure, you would be experiencing it already, not during self-realization or keval gnan. You would be experiencing, because then there would be nothing like Gunsthanak only, 1st to 14. It is pure in the first also, it's pure in the fourth, it's pure in the 14th. Siddhavastha everywhere, so you wouldn't need so many stages of development. You understand? So again, if the soul is absolutely non-attached and pure, meaning without the association of karma, then why is it not experienced by you? You should have been able to experience it right from the beginning itself. It is non-attached, but from the absolute viewpoint. From the relative viewpoint, it becomes absolutely non-attached, say liberated, only when it experiences the true self, abides in it, and gets rid of all the karmic bondages. When he experiences his self, Gunsthanak 4, he abides Atma Sthirata, that was Atma Gnan, experiencing. And then the awareness, the abidance in the self means 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th, etc. And then you get rid of the bondages, and when you get rid of the last particle, Eka Parmanu Matrani Malena Sparshata, Maulik ji had explained in Apurva also. The last particle you get rid of, and you are in complete Siddhahood. Siddhavastha, Siddhahood. Accomplished. Absolutely liberated. So, its nature, the nature of the soul is completely unattached right now. But the state of the soul will be absolutely unattached when he abides in the soul, when he experiences his soul, when he abides in his soul, and when he gets rid of all the karmic bondages. So beautifully explained. So, in order to explain the concept of the soul, the Guru clarifies here, you must know two things. The inherent nature of the soul and its current state. Two things you should be knowing. Then you would know, you would understand the concept of soul. See the beautiful word used in the first verse of Sri Atma Siddhi Shastra. Je Swarupa Samajyavina. Swarup. Swarup means both. The nature, the eternal nature which was there is and will always be. The nature of the soul and the different states which modify and finally becomes a pure state. So both the things. So Swarup means Swabhav and Vibhav. Swarup means its Swabhav, inherent nature, and its capacity to modify states. So both. So he didn't use Je Swabhava Samajya Vina. When you know the nature of the soul, the inherent nature only, you need to know the whole constitution. What is its nature? What is its capacities? How does it modify? What is its current state? What state it can achieve? Everything. When you know everything. So in J Swarup, I think all the six paths come. Only in these two words, J Swarup, J being, it can be for both Jad and Chetan, but here we are interested in Chetan, so J would mean the soul. So two things, inherent nature, which maybe we have not perceived, read, heard, but not perceived, but it is perceived by the enlightened ones. And they say the inherent nature of the soul is eternal, endless, pure, beyond the manifold varieties of earthly expressions. Manushya, Tiryansh, Dev, Narki, Krodhi, Shant, beyond the manifold varieties of earthly expressions and experiences. So this is the inherent nature which is perceived by the enlightened ones. And the present state, the current state, which is filled with frailties and flaws, meaning weaknesses and defects, or say impurities. And in this state, it is the doer of karmas. So whenever bondage occurs, it is by the soul's inspiration, which is the soul's capacity to do it. Rather, it has become a tendency to do it, but it is not its inherent nature. You can boil the water and make it hot, but what is the nature of water? Cool. If you don't do anything, it will become cool. If you do something, means boil it, you will see the state hot, changing into cold or hotter. Anything. It can be more impure also, it can turn towards purity. But what is the inherent nature of the soul? Shitalata, coolness. So the Guru clarifies all this in these two lines, and so beautifully. Keval hota san. See, so while presenting his case of the doership of the soul, the disciple had described the soul as pure and unattached. Which words? Atma sada asangane. So we don't want we don't want to know anything about Prakriti right now. We don't want to know anything about Prakriti and its doership and its functions and its capacities. We don't want to know anything. We just want to know about the Purush or the soul. So what had he said? Atma Sada. So Atma means soul, Sada, always, completely, absolutely. Asang, unattached, non-attached. No association with body or karmas. And here we need karmas, so forget the body. No association. That's what the Shishya had argued, that Atma is Sadasang. And this is because the Sankhya philosophy believes in the soul as absolutely pure, unbound, non-attached. The Vedanta philosophy calling Atma as Brahma and believes that Brahma is completely or say absolutely pure and unbound, non-attached. So because of the influence of Sankhya, Vedanta, etc., he starts arguing or presenting his thought processes by saying that everyone is saying, everyone metle abhe, huh? Everyone is saying the soul is pure, the soul is pure. This is what the Shishya had presented. When he was presenting his case, he had said this, he had argued it out. And the Guru says, of course. So one more trait we learn. How should we communicate? How should we, when there is a dispute or disagreement, first accept the right thing, then explain the wrong thing. First accept the right. You think, of course, the soul is pure. So first response is of acceptance, not explanation also, not negation also. Acceptance. Anekantva says, it should be with ahimsa. So first, you should know the viewpoint and accept it. Then you are practicing ahimsa. Then explain the other viewpoint and practice anekant. First practice ahimsa. Don't start with, I disagree with you. First say where you agree with him. આ તો મેં કંઈક જુદું જ કાઢ્યું છે આ ગાથામાં તો આવું કંઈ પણ I learned this from this verse. First ahimsa, then anekant. So first say correct, Atma is pure. But in his mind he says, yes, his nature is pure. Its current state is not pure, it is impure. Do you all agree? Impurity, have you experienced impurity? Or are you experiencing impurity right now? I'm not understanding this confusing thing. That itself is an impurity. Agnanta biju so. That's also impurity. Correct? Then suddenly you get a thought, okay, if he explains this way, he's going to take at least till 12:30. So another impure feeling. So all this impure feeling, what is it? Your soul is unbound, it's non-attached, not influenced by karmas or such situations or person or anything. Atma is pure, peaceful, pure and powerful. So where is that powerful soul who should not get influenced? Where is that peaceful soul who should not get all these vikalps? Where is that pure soul who feels, what is the need of knowing all this? You understand? So in his mind he knows, okay, when I'm agreeing to the inherent nature of the soul. And then say, but I disagree if you are speaking that the state of the soul is pure right now in the present. Because I'm experiencing, I cannot say this is Maya. This impurity is also what I'm experiencing. Mithya in the sense, it's not my nature, correct. But if you say that this state is also mithya, then you are mithya. You are talking mithya. You are talking mrusha, juthu, mrusha, vada. Speaking Vad, Mrusha, Juttu, wrong. But your attitude should be such. First, accept. So the Guru accepts. Yeah, you said Atma Sada Asanga. And I agree. It is always pure in its nature. Always pure. Sada, you said, I agree. But the moment you use the word Keval, it is only pure, absolutely pure, completely pure, I negate. And then he gives why. He explains. Bhasat tanena came. So, keval hot asang jo. Sada asang, I agree. Sada asang, I agree because the nature remains always. So, sada asang. But if you are saying that's the concept of the soul, that's the definition of the soul, that the soul is always pure. So, keval, if you use only that one word, keval, absolutely, not differentiating between the nature, the eternal nature, and the current state. If you don't differentiate and you said it's only pure, how do you account of this anger and lust and what do you say about that? These impure feelings emerge from the Atma. So those who want to keep the Atma only pure will say all this is of man and buddhi. But then you'll have to prove that man and buddhi are jad. And if they are jad, how can they have feelings? You're seeing the contradiction. Yeah, you can consider them jad. But then you can't keep the feelings there. If you keep it in the Chetan, you cannot say absolutely pure. You understand? If you want to put it here, you cannot say Atma Sada in the sense of Keval. You cannot say this. If you want to say Atma is different and the body, mind, intellect, everything is different, fine, then you can't put feelings there. Because manma feelings થાય, buddhima feelings થાય, અને શરીરમાં feelings ન થાય, then you are differentiating between two jads. So one category of jad has no feelings, the body. One category of jad, which is the mind, intellect, have feelings. You understand the confusion? Have I been successful in confusing you? Have I been successful? This is a wonderful question. You can't do anything but just stay like this. If you say, yes, you have been successful, means I have confused you. I am not solved. And if I have solved your problem, then I am not successful. So at times you just have to sit like this. Vivekananda, you should not nod your head for anything. You understand? How beautifully, just by using Atma Sada Asang, I accept. But now if you say Keval Asang, absolutely means you are not differentiating between the nature and the state and considering it pure only, always, only, absolutely, completely. These 4 words will be asked in the quiz. Only pure, absolutely pure, always pure, completely pure. I think completely and absolutely are the very apt words. Because always pure, of course it's always pure, the nature is always pure. But only if you say purity is the definition of the soul. So the Guru says, of course you are right, Sada Asang, but only from a certain perspective. He is not yet saying nature and state and all this I have said. Bhagavan has not said. Bhagavan has said only from a certain perspective you are right. Not completely. See how beautifully the Guru explains. If the soul is always absolutely, completely non-attached, meaning without the association of karmas, without the influence of the karmas, association and influence, association and influence, if it's completely without the influence of karmas, ભાસત તને ન કેમ? કેવલ હોત અસંગ તો ભાસત તને કે કેમ? Then why are you unable to experience that pure self now? Why all this sadhana chakkar? Sorry, culture. It is culture, but sometimes we get tired and bored. We say, what is all this chakkar? સવારથી ઉઠીને દેવંદન, સાંજ પડે ને દેવંદન, સવાર પડે ને ભક્તિ, સાંજ પડે ને ભક્તિ, and same routine, gnan and seva and same thing. Why do you need? You are already a pure self. Why are you unable to experience it now? You should be experiencing it from the beginning. Beginning means verse 44. When it was said Atma che, Nitya che, vagere, etc. And you say, of course it's right, I'm experiencing it. There wouldn't be verse 45. You could go straight to Oh Sri Sadguru only. So why weren't you experiencing from the beginning? When you have an experiential evidence, then why did you utter in verse 45? Why did you doubt the existence? નથી દ્રષ્ટિમાં આવતો, નથી જણાતું રૂપ, બીજો પણ અનુભવ નહીં, તેથી ન જીવ સ્વરૂપ. You already had an experiential evidence. However, such a non-attached pure soul is not experienced, and that is the fact. Right? It's not experienced. So it is evident that the soul certainly has the association of the veil of karma. You would say કે કર્મનું આવરણ એવું છે કે I can't experience myself. I am, but I can't experience. આ handkerchief બહુ કામમાં આવે છે. ક્લોક છે કે નહીં? દેખાય છે. Why? Why, Dr. Mansi? It's covered, concealed. There is a veil. So this veil of karma prevents us from experiencing the pure self. So it is evident that there is an association, rather influence of the karma on the soul. Correct? So all this what I said comes only in the first line. Keval hot, keval, if it is absolutely non-attached and pure, bhasattane na kem. Only those which are bound by karmas are not experiencing. But you are saying it's unbound, absolutely unbound. Then you should have experienced it from the beginning, not now. Atlu bhi matu kem khadu maru. First pad and second pad. You could have saved so much time, so much money, be spent in 2 yagnas. Atma che, Atma nitya che, existing and everlastingness of the soul. Pasatani. So, therefore, it cannot be said that the soul is completely non-attached or absolutely non-attached, because we are experiencing the veil of, say, ignorance, of, say, karmas, or, say, passions, whatever. Correct? And now what does he say? Asang che. The moment that fellow is convinced it's not asang, the moment he is convinced now that Atma is not without the association of karmas, not totally pure, not non-attached, the moment he is convinced, what does the Guru say? Asang che. Asang che, you can put comma, asang che. And now how do you explain this? Very, very simple. There are 2 viewpoints, the absolute viewpoint and the relative viewpoint. I'll take 1 minute of yours. There are 2 viewpoints, absolute viewpoint, relative viewpoint. The real viewpoint, the practical viewpoint. The real viewpoint, the practical viewpoint. निश्चय नहीं, व्यवहार नहीं. So what is true but? No, both are true in their ways. Why? Because this focuses, this viewpoint focuses on the nature. This viewpoint focuses on the state of the soul. Nature of the soul, state of the soul. એવું બની શકે અચ્છા કોઈ ઓડિયન્સમાં એવું કોઈક છે જે ના વાલ બહુ લાંબા હોય ઊભા થાઓ બેન આગળ આવો her hair ચોટલા skin. So is she okay or is she wonderful? Come on now, don't confuse me. Just tell me, is she okay or is she wonderful? તમારે જેટલું જોરથી કહેવું હોય તો કહો, but we'll say both. It depends on from which viewpoint you are seeing this lady. If you are talking, say, if you are focusing on the nature, we will say pure, pure and only pure. Absolutely pure. And if you say your my current state, so you will say impure. If you say Param Kripalu Dev's current state, again you will say pure, pure and only pure. Ben, thank you. So when the focus is only at different places, either on the chotla or on the cheeks, CC, outside. So if the focus is on the chotla, the answer is absolutely pure, say nature. And if the focus is on the cheeks, then you will say, if she puts some efforts, જો તમે સત્ય પુરુષાર્થ જો ઈચ્છો પરમાર્થ તો કરો સત્ય પુરુષાર્થ. So the guru does not have to do lot of sadhana to accept that fellow. આપનું તો કોઈને જેનું ઓપિનિયન એકદમ ડાયવર્સ હોય કે ઓપોઝિટ હોય એને એક્સેપ્ટ કરવા માટે વી હેવ ટુ એકચ્યુઅલી જ્ઞાનીના વચનો યાદ કરવા પડે. ઓ ગોડ ગીવ મી શક્તિ ટુ સી ગુડ ઇન ધીસ પર્સન. But the guru does not. The guru has a very nice gear system, automatic gear. Automatic. So એને ખરાબ ન લાગે એવું કરવું હોય તો he will change the gear that way. And if that person is a seeker and wants to know the complete truth, so whatever he is missing out, the ignorant person, આજ problem છે ignorance નો. It only wants to hold one. Either the soul is absolutely pure or the soul is absolutely bound. Both are true, but either you want to hold this or this, and that becomes a partial truth which is false. This way you cannot attain Samyak Darshan. You may be so right in your viewpoint, but considering it the complete description of the soul, complete, you become wrong. So see the beauty, all this nature, state, nothing, no word is mentioned here. And still everything I'm taking out from this verse only. So keval hot, if it's absolutely non-attached, asang, bhasatane na ke, simple logic. Why logic also experience? What you can experience now that I can't experience the soul. That is your experience right now. So you can't be absolutely pure. Why aren't you experiencing your soul? Because you are impure. બહુ વિચારવાનું જ નહીં. Everything is in the verse. Because you are impure, you can't. Why are you impure? Because you are bound by karmas. So who acquired all these karmas? You. So you are the doer. Finish. Now see the beauty in the last three words. Asang che. He accepts it. Asang che. Paramarthi, from the absolute viewpoint, which focuses on the nature only. Nishchay nahi focuses on the nature of the soul only. So asangat છે. Yeah, when my durbin, my camera is on the nature of the soul, I'm finding it satyam, anantam, I'm finding it pure, I'm finding it blissful, pure, peaceful, powerful, everything. So the mantra was from the absolute viewpoint. I am a pure, peaceful, powerful soul. Because in the morning you said Shamapna. Hey Bhagavan, હું ભૂલી ગયો, હું પાપી છું. And after 10 minutes you are saying, I'm a pure, peaceful, powerful soul. Are you? No, that was from that viewpoint, absolute viewpoint. That was from the practical viewpoint or the viewpoint which focuses on my current states. So, હું અનાથ છું, પાપી છું, રજલું છું, આ છું, અધમાધમ છું. Yeah. But now I don't want you to cry. I want you to change your focus to your pure, inherent, eternal nature. So now what will you say? Now try to say હું પાપી છું, અનાથ છું, નિરાશ્રિત છું. You will not. You will have to say I am pure, peaceful, powerful. And Param Krupadeva's આજ્ઞા આવી આત્મ ભાવના કરતા કરતા કેવલ જ્ઞાન થાય. Not who admadam adhikopatit, admadam adhikopatit. That was only the first station, introspection. Then I talked about the second station, contemplation. I am a pure, peaceful, powerful soul. So from who papi, anath, etc., krodhi, etc., you came to who pure, peaceful, powerful. And then you go beyond this in meditation. So that's what is it. Pan nij bhane tem. Nij bhane, on experiencing the pure self and abiding in that awareness, you can actually become non-attached. Meaning, you get rid of karmas, and at that particular moment, your state is karmaless. Nature was karmaless only, but now your state is karmaless. Fantastic, isn't it? Okay. So, from the absolute viewpoint, focusing on the nature, you are asang. But current state, you are full of impurities. But when the soul realizes its pure nature, when the soul experiences its flawless nature and abides in it, it starts getting rid of karmas, the karmic bondage, to the extent at one point, end of 14th Gunsthanak, it is devoid, it is totally karma-less. And so, from the vyavaharic viewpoint, practical viewpoint, relative viewpoint also, he becomes asang. Its nature was asang from the absolute viewpoint even now. But its state becomes non-attached when it experiences when he experiences its true nature, meaning self-realization. It's the process starts from self-realization, ends at siddhahood. Thoda karma ocha tata karmaless state. Isn't it wonderful? So, so it can be concluded at present, the state of the soul is impure, tainted. At present, the state, again, at present, the nature of the soul is impure. Pure, okay. At present, the state of the soul is impure, tainted. So, because of that, it continues to indulge in cravings and aversions, likes, dislikes, simple. Because the current state is impure. And because this impurity of the soul is instrumental in acquiring the karmic material, particles, therefore, the soul is the doer of karmas. That's what was needed to be proved. at present તો છે જ. Clear? Let's sing.
केवड़ होत असंग जो भासत तने न केम असंग छे परमार्थ थी पण निज भाने ते